Hey everyone, AMD is set to report first quarter 2024 financial results on Tuesday, April 30th. So in this video, I'll preview what investors should look for from AMD in that quarterly earnings report. I'll also answer if I think investors should buy AMD stock before that earnings report, after the earnings report, or not buy AMD stock at all. I'll address those concerns in this video as well. So let's get started with a preview of what to expect and what to look for from AMD in the upcoming quarterly earnings release.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
Of course, the big story around AMD is artificial intelligence. Its rival, NVIDIA, has already demonstrated phenomenal progress on that front. AMD recently introduced its new GPU, and that's going to be the headliner. That's going to be what every Wall Street analyst is going to want to hear about in the upcoming earnings release. So let's get a little bit of insight into what happened in the previous quarter so that we know what to look for in the next one. Management saying that the demand for their high-performance data center product portfolio continues to accelerate, positioning us well to deliver strong annual growth in what is an incredibly exciting time as AI reshapes virtually every part of the computing market. So AMD is on the cusp, poised to benefit from that surge in demand for AI. But as we're going to see, it's not really capitalizing the way NVIDIA is, or nowhere near the way NVIDIA is capitalizing. So I mentioned they successfully launched their AMD Instinct M100 300 GPU, MI300 GPU, not M100 300 GPU, positioning us for a strong product ramp in 2024. Essentially expecting a surge in revenue from this product, from this GPU, from this accelerator. This is what pushes artificial intelligence, and AMD expects strong demand for this product. But if we look at the latest quarterly results and the latest annual results, they are not impressive. Revenue came in at 6.168 billion in the fourth quarter. That was up just 10% year over year. Operating profit margin of 6% was up 9 percentage points from negative 3% the same quarter last year. NVIDIA is putting up revenue growth of north of 100% and operating profit margins north of 40%. So the contrast is stark between NVIDIA and AMD. For annual results, 2023, 22.68 billion was down 4% year over year, and the operating profit margin of 2% was down 3 percentage points. So this is what I've been discussing with AMD for the last 6 months now. It's been on the cusp, but it hasn't demonstrated that kind of surge like NVIDIA has. NVIDIA's demand for its GPUs are off the charts. Management continues saying that demand exceeds supply. Demand exceeds supply. And here you have AMD, which is demonstrating revenue down 4%. Now, it's because AMD's other segments are not performing well. Its AI segment, as I'm going to note here, data center segment, which is where AI is housed, was up to 2.3 billion, which was up 38% year over year and 43% from the previous quarter. That was driven by strong growth in the AMD Instinct GPUs we just talked about and the AMD EPYC CPUs. So that segment is thriving for NVIDIA. The trouble is its other segments, the gaming segment, the client segment. For 2023, its client segment was 4.7 billion, down 25% year over year due to a decline in the PC market. So AMD generates considerable revenue from its PC market, and that was down 25% year over year. And this trend I've been talking about for 2 years now, and that is 2020, 2021, personal computer sales surged, and those are long-lasting goods. People keep their computers on average 4 to 6 years. 2022 and 2023, therefore, were gap years where PC revenue was way down. 2024, expectations, forecasts are that the PC market will grow by low to mid single digits. So I'm expecting AMD for its client segment for the year to either be flat or up year over year. Now, if it can demonstrate that, the GPU segment will carry revenue growth and that segment will be flat, so the company's overall revenue can demonstrate solid growth. That remains to be seen if they can actually achieve that. But according to the data that I'm getting from other players in the PC market, including Intel and Micron, their forecasts suggest a low to mid single digit increase in the PC market. So I expect that similar to be for AMD as well. So I mentioned that AMD announced the general availability of AMD Instinct M1 300X accelerators with industry-leading memory bandwidth performance for generative AI, as well as the Instinct MI300A APU that combines the AMD CDNA 3 and Zen 4 chiplets to deliver breakthrough performance for HPC, which is high performance computing, and AI workloads. So this is what investors are going to want to hear about in the Q&A session after AMD reports earnings. If you're not already aware, most companies, after they report their earnings results, they'll host a question and answer session with Wall Street analysts. Here, Wall Street analysts will pepper the CEO and CFO and other senior management officials with questions about what happened in the quarter and what they expect for the rest of the year and the near term next couple of years. This is what I expect all the questions to be about. Well, I shouldn't say all the questions, but a good share of the questions will be about this chip and how it's competing in the market compared to NVIDIA and what kind of response AMD is seeing, what the sales were for this product in the quarter, what kind of orders are coming in, what kind of phone calls are coming in, what kind of conversations is AMD having with the hyperscalers like AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, etc., etc. It's all going to be about that chip, and that's where it's going to make the biggest difference in AMD's share price following the earnings release. If investors are pleased with what they're seeing with this product, then AMD stock price is likely to rebound because remember, AMD stock price has hit a bit of a wall here, reaching a high of $211 per share in March before falling to $148 per share as of this recording. Now, if AMD can deliver solid results for that particular product, investors are most likely going to be willing to overlook many of the other downsides in the quarter. If the PC market rebound, I said it was expected to be low to mid single digits. If it turns out to be negative low to mid single digits, I think investors will overlook that, right? The PC market is not what investors are looking for from AMD. What they're looking for is penetration into the AI GPU market, where NVIDIA owns an estimated 80% market share. They want and they expect AMD to capture a little bit more market share. They don't expect AMD to topple NVIDIA or even approach NVIDIA, but they expect AMD to capture meaningful market share in the double digits. And so if AMD shows that in the quarter, then I think it's good news for investors. If it doesn't, then I think investors will begin to lose patience from AMD and start to think maybe AMD is not going to play in this game. Maybe this is going to be a game where it's NVIDIA by itself dominating the market, which I don't think is going to be very likely. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think AMD will demonstrate progress and will capture market share because of its history in competing against, Intel in the CPU market and then NVIDIA in the GPU market. Over the last 5, 7, 10 years, it's done well in making itself a formidable rival to those two giants. And so I expect it to find the way to capture market share here based on its history. Now, AMD is trading at a forward price to earnings of 27. So going into the quarter, I did have AMD stock rated as one of my top stocks to buy. I last updated that on March 31st. I also updated my price target for AMD stock to $185 per share. I did that on April 18th. If you didn't see that video, I think the title is Where Will AMD Stock Be in 2024? I'll also link to it at the end of this video if you want to check that out. But I was bullish on AMD stock coming into the year. I had it rated as a top 25 stock to buy to begin the year, and you can see it's up very slightly. It's $148 per share today. It was roughly around $147 to begin the year, so it was a top performer when it reached 211. Now it's down to 148, and it's been one of the more mediocre performers. Now, to answer the question about the upcoming earnings, should you buy before or after, or should you not buy at all? I would say AMD stock is a buy. The decision is now, do you buy before or after? Buying before is a lot riskier than buying after, because if you buy before, you're risking losing money, right? If you buy before and the stock price drops, let's say 20% following earnings, you've now lost 20% of your money. But if you wait to buy after, what you're risking is missing out on a run higher, which I always prefer to make that second mistake. I prefer to make the mistake of missing out on a bull run rather than losing my money. So if you want to take one of those risks, I would take the risk of missing out and buying after earnings. If you don't want to take any of those risks, you could split up your purchase in two, buy half before earnings, buy half after earnings. So those are some of the choices you have for this stock that I have rated as a top stock to buy. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.